Hi there, everyone. This is Dr. Nadia, founder of the Doyenne Agency and host of Straight Talk About Sales. And I'm super excited because today I actually have a guest. I have Christine Walsh, and she's going to talk to us today about money and money mindset, which, as you know, part of the sales conversation is asking for money. So many times that's a big holdup that I see with clients that I work with when it comes to, how to have that conversation or ask people to take that next step and invest with them. So I'm super excited to have this conversation today with Christine. So hello, Christine.
Hello, Dr. Nadia. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. So one of the things that I wanted us to first start off and just talking about is, sharing a little bit about yourself. How did you come to do the work that you do? And then we'll dive into some deeper questions.
Great. Yeah. I was very fearful of money. So my background, I grew up in New York. I went to business school and I worked down on Wall Street as an investment advisor for about 10 years, analyzing portfolios and all that good stuff that kind of in the whole realm of financial advisor world. And then moved out to Colorado and have worked in small business and entrepreneurial pursuits since then, working mainly for other people. And so during that time, I, being supposedly the money expert, was avoiding my own money things, my own personal finances, just very shoemaker shoes, like the shoemaker shoes, right? It's like a bookkeeper's books were never in control. So I realized with the education I had, I felt very embarrassed and very, I guess, shameful about my own stuff because I was supposed to know this stuff and I couldn't talk to anyone about it. And I remember a point we're at 2018, about 10 years ago, where I was like, I cannot go on like this anymore. I really can't. Like, how I'm supposed to know this stuff. How do I turn this around? And I really had to take a very hard, honest look at myself and say, what's the hold up here? And so it didn't have to do with the education. It really had to do with mindset, my perception of my value and my worth and all of that. And so I started down the path of, I'd say, personal development in general. I remember hiring a life coach and she was, I think, $1,200 for 3 months. And I said, where the hell am I going to get this money?
I know you're like,
oh, and now spending tens of thousands of dollars on just coaching and personal development because I am very, it's a very important part of my business.
Oh yeah,
to do that and get that training. But really looking at where I was stuck. I just remember talking to that life coach and being like, I don't even know what to say. I just feel drawn and I need somebody to hold space for me because I really felt embarrassed that I couldn't tell anyone about my money story. So fast forward years and I decided to go do some coaching training, which really was an investment in me. And as I graduated from that, decided, well, what do I do with this? And I remember saying to myself, well, I can't not do anything. I can't be the only one out there struggling around money. And that's why I went into coaching, which is what I do. I'm a money coach and helping others, helping women and men in their money stories and unwinding that, as well as allowing that to open up into growth around business, income, of course, as well as just life, because they feed each other. And it's important to me to do because we need new models of what financial success looks like. And if many of you, your viewers, whoever's listening, may not have had those models. And I know my parents did amazing things raising me and stuff like that, but personal finance wasn't something we talked about.
Right.
So it was important for me to have this conversation opened up in a way that anything goes. Whether you have debt, I know a lot of people have school loans that are tremendous. Whether they're running a business and not paying themselves, all of that I look at this work from a very non-judgmental space because I would say I don't know if it's all of us, but at one point or another, we've all not been a very good steward of money just because we didn't know any better.
Right.
So it's important for me to do this work, and that's why I continue it to kind of go down this path.
We're so appreciative because I can talk about student loans. Oh my gosh, right? Many years I was in my business without paying myself. So yeah, we could go down the rabbit hole with that, just in that own journey, like you said, about things that we didn't learn, and then you're aware of things, and then there's so much judgment, there's so much fear around talking about it. So
I know.
totally.
We drive ourselves nuts.
Right. It's like, what? Stop it.
And we're spinning in our own head. And that's why I thought that this coaching and this witnessing and listening to others in their stuff is so important. And that's why I love this modality of coaching around it.
I love that. So in your work, because you've been doing this for some time, and like you said, you work with men and women in working through their money stuff. What are some of the biggest hurdles or obstacles that you see, particularly for women, as it relates to their money mindset?
Well, I think for women, so there's a stat out there that says 80% of women women make 80% of the purchasing decisions in their household. But then when it comes to business and it comes to investing perhaps, and it comes to some other realms that come outside the household, we lose the trust in ourselves that we can make the proper decisions. And so I think that's very interesting, because what switches, what happens when we go into our business, we go into our career asking for a raise, that we lose that, I know the money thing at home, but I don't know it here. And I believe it comes down to trust and trusting ourselves a lot. And again, probably one of those things we did not learn in school about how to trust yourself necessarily, or at least I didn't.
We had a whole class, a semester, how to trust yourself.
It's just not something we talk about. So I think we go out there and there's so much going on out in the world, and we are getting so much advice from other people. And I do believe the financial advisory industry has done us a little disservice, because they're like, give us your money and we'll do our thing with it.
Right.
And I think it's shifting. I do think it's shifting. And that is like, oh, well, my financial advisor handles all that, or my money manager handles all that. I don't really need to know it, or my husband handles all that.
Yeah.
And lose confidence in ourselves. It just kind of eats away at us very subtly, that we lose our ability to understand finances. And I do think the financial industry has done us a disservice, because they made it so confusing, and that you need to be like, I just don't like it. Let me hand it off to someone else. I don't want to deal.
Right. It's like, what?
And that hits any sort of, we've only women been dealing with money for the past 60 years, 70 years, really, as earning an income and working out of the home and all of that stuff. So we haven't had that. We have a different mentality than men on money. That men have been the hunter-gatherers. They're the provider. We aren't necessarily generationally had that role. So we're uncovering it for ourselves step by step, and not a lot of role models out there to follow along with.
That's so true. As you and I were talking a little bit before we hit the record button about just growing your business, there's that beginning where you're like making no money. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I made some money, whether it's your goal or not. You're like, yay. And then you get to that point where, wait a second, I need to pay myself. So those different levels, I think, that we go through, especially as an entrepreneur building a business, and you feel like, wait, I thought I mastered this whole money mindset, right? And then as we're going through this, what are some of the subtle ways that a money mindset issue might come up? Because some people may be thinking, well, I think I got this down. I'm successful in my business. It's growing. I have a team. But there may be some subtle ways that there's still a mindset issue at play.
What I think about, and what I've heard a lot as businesses grow, I think maybe it's not so subtle way, is that we expect us to not have any money mindset issues as we grow. Like it, oh, I've done the work. And we are in relationship with money, which I'm sure in the personal development world, we've heard that many, many times. And it's one of our longest relationships. I would call it our long. We'll be dealing with money at some level for the rest of our lives.
Mm-hmm.
So a relationship evolves, a relationship grows, a relationship is shifts and changes. And we as entrepreneurs have to recognize that, or else we are creating more blocks for ourselves. And so that is one of the ways that I think it subtly comes in, that we believe we shouldn't have a problem. And it's powerful, because if that's the case, then you're going to stop. The growth is going to stop. The income might stop, or you're going to have a very, I want to say, perverse relationship with money, because your evolution of recognizing your money issues and thinking they're all done, and then you're growing your business. I think we're always going to have that money mindset that's allowing us to grow. We're human beings, and we're designed to grow. So the money mindset grows with you. And we're always getting reminders as being humans that this is something we got to look at.
Yep.
And just in relationship with our husband, our lover, our spouse, our partner, whoever that is, we grow and change. And I would want that to happen. I want that.
So true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the good news is you can build your money mindset. The bad news, if you will, is you have lots of growing to do. Like there's no moment where you're like, ta-da, I've arrived.
For sure. I mean, like I said, just as I introduced myself, I had a major, major money issue. And now I do the work. It's what I study. It's what I train for. It's what I teach. It's what I preach. And still always, what else is there? And I think that's out of curiosity now. I really want to know, because then it's not stopping me down the line or in my tracks or triggering me. I'm like, oh, it's out of curiosity, because out of that curiosity is the possibility. So yeah, I will be the first to tell you, I still have money mindset issues.
That's perfect. That was one of my questions. Like, okay, Christine, I know you teach this, but have you ever had your own money mindset issues?
Yeah, I still do, especially as we get into higher income levels,
mm-hmm.
and the so-called 100K or 250 or $500,000 or whatever that is. It's like, well, now this means something, and I gotta, and what meaning do we give it? And so that's kind of spiral it down. Like, I have clients that have nothing, starting business, to clients who have trust funds, who are plenty of money, and everyone comes back to that same thing of where's the holdup? And I will say this, I know money blocks and money limiting beliefs and all that get a lot of airtime in this realm. And I know we're always trying to get rid of them. This might be a piece of it, if everything is energy, which is my philosophy, everything is energy, then can we really get rid of them? And how can we actually leverage them? What magic is in them? What's in them that wants to be integrated to us, and we can actually catapult us?
Yeah.
Without exponentially creating income in business and life. And so when I was thinking about all this money blocks, and we can get so caught up in that, like, what's your money block? What's your money story? And how's it holding you back? And da-da-da-da. It's like, well, what if there's nuggets in there? Very much like shadow work. So if you're familiar with shadow work, what's the nugget in there, the gift, that if we break it open, we can integrate the money block. It doesn't have such a charge to us, and it actually propels us forward, instead of how do I clear this, or how do I get rid of it, or how do I fix it, etc. So I think it's an opportunity for us to be like, if your money blocks, if you feel like you have a bunch of them, awesome. What are they trying to tell you? And how can you use them to your advantage? Because they're not going away. They're like little whiny kids. They want us to be loved and kissed and hugged.
I love it.
The dinner table and had tea and crumb cake with. So that's my take on it. And if we gave as much energy to our money blocks as we do to our money desires, we'd probably be light years ahead of where we are in our income. Yeah.
That's so good. Oh my gosh. Use it to my advantage. Because you're right. It's not going anywhere. They still show up. No matter how much money I make, no matter how many, levels I reach, it's always something right around the corner, or that fear around making a mistake or whatever. So I love that. There's something that we can learn from it and use that to catapult you. So
yes. Yeah.
Good stuff. So what is one thing, because I know, to get all the goodies, y'all just have to call Christine, right, and work with her. But what is one thing that women entrepreneurs can do to begin shifting their money mindset, or, begin leveraging that mindset or those blocks to move them forward?
Yeah. Well, since us women, we're more of an emotional creature than a logical creature in some respects. Like, I know we have both components in us, but when it comes to money, there's an emotional component that's pretty high that I've with myself, with clients, etc., friends, colleagues. And I think forgiving yourself, the spirit of forgiveness, the energy of forgiveness, whatever that spaces around forgiveness is for you, because we can all do it different ways, for not being a good steward of money at one point or another can open up a lot. And a lot of people, I would imagine, have done forgiveness work. And but when we look at it through the lens of money, it takes off so much of the guilt and any of the shame that's associated with experiences we've gone through. Again, like I said, when I was looking at my own money stuff about 10 years ago, it was around the time of this. So it was around 2008. So it was the economic crisis of back then.
Oh yeah, there was a lot of drama around money in 2008. Exactly. I was working in financial services, so yeah, it was a hot mess.
Yeah. So I was a financial controller for a real estate developer, and the project stopped, and I lost my job at the point, and I had 2 condos here where I live in Colorado. One was a investment property, and one was my personal condo, and I lost one to foreclosure, and I was like devastated. And I was 2,000 miles from my family, my support. I had a very crappy boyfriend at the time. And I said, oh my goodness, like I just felt like the world was going to crumble on me. Like I didn't have anywhere to go. And I knew that as I grow, and I go back to that story and think about it, I was like, well, what was the change? What got me out of it? And there was many, many points of it. But one of the strongest and most powerful and profound parts of it was me forgiving myself for all the judgment and crap I put on myself that I was not a good steward of money.
Yeah.
And it's a release. And it takes a lot for some of us to forgive ourselves. It's like looking at yourself in the mirror saying, I love you or something,
Yeah.
It's a challenge. But I do invite everyone to think about what that could look like for you. Even just planting the seed of, you're not the only one who's gone through this stuff.
Right.
And it's okay. And I truly, truly believe that the more resistance we have around something, whether it's money, health, relationship, love, whatever it is, the more power we have on the other side of it as we walk through towards that another way to be around, well, in this case, money. So forgiving yourself is huge. And if there are people in your world that were a part of this, a money issue, a money thing that happened in your life that just wasn't a good thing, whether it was growing up as a kid or just as an experience with me when I was 30, I guess it's more 34. And bring that into the mindset around forgiveness as well. It's gonna unchain you, and it's gonna let you leap. It is gonna let you fly.
I love that. This was so good. We could go on forever and ever. However, both of us are busy. So how can people connect with you? Because there are so many layers, as you know, this is your work, to really getting money mindset together. I had a good friend and colleague calling me just today. She was reading articles about, how much less we make even in corporate. And then we don't necessarily make much more, even as entrepreneurs compared to men. She was like, Nadia, I just need you to be honest with me. Like, what am I doing wrong? And even like around pricing and, but it all ties back to money mindset.
Yeah.
So how people connect with you? Those people that are like, you know what? I really need to get a handle on this, and I need some support around my money mindset, because ultimately that's really going to help me grow, whether I'm in corporate or I have my own business.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that. And I am open to conversations around this. So the best way to reach me is through my website, which is chriswalshcoaching.com. And that's CHRISWALSH coaching.com. And I really offer up the opportunity to be witnessed in your money crap. And I say that lovingly, and I also giggle a little bit around it, but I'm very serious about it, because if we can't be, right? Money is one of the most challenging topics to talk about, more so than sex, more so than politics, especially these days. To be witnessed in your money stuff is very powerful. So I offer that opportunity in our strategy session to just look at what's going on for you, and whether or not we work together or it puts you in action to uncover this for yourself through just put you on the path to opening up to this kind of a dialogue around money. Awesome. But I assure you that coming out of a conversation with me in the validation that you can say anything to me, I've heard it all, I think mostly about money, will happen in that kind of a session. So I would love to talk to anyone. I think it's the easiest way for us to get to know each other, and talk about money in all its glory and all of its goodness and ickiness and ugliness and whatever, all of it. So I welcome conversations for sure.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Christine. This was amazing. And as Christine said, head on over to chriswalshcoaching.com. Get that call scheduled. Get your money mindset right so you can get your life right, okay? So this is Dr. Nadia with another episode of Straight Talk About Sales. Thank you so much for joining. I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.